Is Eddie George with us, Fritzy?
He sure is, live from Nashville.
Oh, live from Nashville. Eddie joining us now. Did you ever play at the Coliseum, Ed?
No, I've never played at the Coliseum. Never. It's a great venue. I've been there, but I've never had a chance to play in there. It's a great venue to play in.
The best place you ever played, aside from Ohio State?
Oh, wow. Are we talking professionally, too, or just college?
If you want to throw professionally in there, it doesn't have the same atmosphere.
No, it doesn't. I'll stick to college. I would have to say Madison, Camp Randall, and State College. Camp Randall is incredible. The fans are enthusiastic. It's a tough environment. They're right on top of you. It's a hostile environment. I mean, I loved going in there and playing at Camp Randall. It was an incredible environment.
Yep, that whole atmosphere there on game day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
All right, let me start with what you saw. You got Alabama. Now, I want you to be honest. If we looked at just their schedule, I'm not basing this on them being a national title defender. Is Alabama the best team based on their results this year? Should they be number one?
Listen, based on their schedule, no. They played absolutely nobody prior to this past weekend, and that was the biggest question. They took care of business in grand fashion. They beat up on everybody they played this year, like they should have. But when you look at them, period, the players that they have, the eyeball test, they passed the eyeball test. But based on their schedule, they should not be the number one team in the country now.
Who should be?
When I look at Oregon, I think Oregon, from top to bottom, they look like they're the best team in the country. Kansas State, based on their body of work, what they were able to do this year, going into Oklahoma, went into West Virginia, beat them. They look like the complete team based off their body of work. And we're going to find out a lot more about Oregon as we get there, the meat of their schedule when they play Oregon State. They have Cal this week. And they also have the Pac-12 championship game if they get there as well. So we want to find out a little bit more about them. But as far as the best two teams in the country, from top to bottom, I think we're looking at Kansas State and Oregon.
Oregon's offense, Alabama's defense. Who you got? Who you got?
Wow, Pat. That's a rough one because. We saw this before a couple years ago with Auburn and Oregon, and we said the speed of Oregon going up against their defense. They handled them pretty well. It was a close game. But I would have to say that Oregon right now, based off of what I saw and the way that their defense has played consistently this year, with the exception against USC, they look like they could beat Alabama. I mean, I don't see anybody keeping up with the type of tempo that they put on, that they have. The way they looked against USC, Kenyon Burner rushing for 300 yards and still looked fresh at the end of that game like he could have gone another quarter and a half and put up 5 bills. It was simply amazing. So I think Oregon could be the team to knock off Alabama in the national championship game.
He's Eddie George. He joins Aaron Andrews and Joey Harrington each week. Pre-game show, Fox College Saturday. It's 2:30 Eastern coming up this Saturday. We got to hand out a Heisman Trophy here eventually, and I'm trying to figure this out because now we're looking at A.J. McCarron with his signature moment. You know what? He had a big drive there, but he didn't have a great second half. I'm just trying to figure this out if I'm going to, get 5 guys to New York. Who are the 5 guys right now that you say should be invited to New York?
Well, the 5 guys, when you look at it, I thought Geno Smith would definitely be the guy with the month he had in September. I mean, phenomenal. But now, getting in October, early November, he seemed to have disappeared off the list. I have to say Colin Klein, definitely number one. He's just the steady Eddie of them all. He's been able to win. He didn't put up big numbers, but he is the leader of that group, so you got to put him in that conversation. Manti Te'o, linebacker for Notre Dame, he's been phenomenal all year long, the heart and soul of that defense, really the heart and soul of that team, and a phenomenal story. And then I put Kenyon Barner in there. I mean, he's had a fantastic year up until this point, and now that they're getting to the tougher part of the schedule, he could surpass everybody if he continued to play the way that he played against USC coming in. And I also have to look at a guy like Braxton Miller and Marquise Lee. And, even in a losing effort last weekend against Oregon, the kid put up almost 400 yards total off by himself. So he is, listen, Dad, he is a bona fide first-round pick, top 5 draft choice this year as a sophomore. And, he has to come back next year, of course. But that kid is a beast. So he should definitely make the trip to New York.
Before I let you go, your alma mater. Ohio State's undefeated, but you're not in the bowl picture, not in the national title picture.
We're not on anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right.
But if I put Ohio State in the mix right now, where does Ohio State fit with the powers if I was looking at the top 5?
I would, I wouldn't put them in the top 5. I wouldn't. I don't think their defense is good enough to compete with the elite teams. And we're looking at the Big Ten. The Big Ten overall this year is not very good. Ohio State is the best team coming out of the Big Ten. Of course, it doesn't count for anything. But I think this year will be their year once they figure they're going to be. Braxton Miller is still phenomenal, but they still need more playmakers, specifically on the outside, the receiver position, to really compete on a consistent basis with the upper echelon teams. I mean, they're a very good football team coming out of the Big Ten, but in the big picture, I would put them, they're a top 10 team. I wouldn't put them in the top 5.
Always good to visit with you, Eddie. Thanks for joining us.
Nice talking with you too, Dan.
All right. Eddie George, Fox Sports.